Shalom Rastafari, Assalamu alaikum, peace to the kings and the queens of the earth. How's everybody doing today on this Monday? Hope everyone just had a great weekend. You're being safe, you're motivated, and you're ready to go. Today, let's get to it. In Missouri, some more bullshit is going on, so to speak. They did this in Florida. They've done this in a few states, also in Texas. But what they're trying to do is get rid of Black history and get rid of specific programs that, one, were started through the George Floyd situation as far as really addressing white supremacy, addressing the history and teaching it properly. And now this critical race theory has taken a name, and it's one of these things that people try to get away with in school boards. So in Missouri, school board removes Black history literature courses over critical race theory fears, and talking about it's going to wage culture wars. So basically, it's so funny how when our story, Black history and American history, as far as Black American history, in these time periods during this 426 years of us really building the entire country from blood, sweat, and tears, and going through every atrocity that we went through. It's kind of funny how when we bring these things up to talk about it, to talk about the past, to talk about our situation, there's this stupid fear that goes on about how all of a sudden when you teach these people, all of a sudden, they become racial, they become radicalized, or they become have an attitude toward it. That's not true. There is no statistics that show that because Black American history is taught, that all of a sudden there is a huge contingent of Black citizens now all of a sudden arming themselves up and wanting to unalive white people. That is like completely ridiculous. And the fact that you teach everybody else's history, you teach, European history, you'll teach about the Vikings, you'll teach, all these other things, but you steer yourself away from what actually going on because you know for a fact that you cannot take the atrocities. To me, anybody who has a fear of this is just a guilty conscience type of situation. And I'm glad that the people in Missouri have already stood up. There have been petitions sent out, 3,000 signatures stating to reinstate the program back. But they've been doing this before, and their entire excuse, or their entire reason they can take it out, says, well, it was taught wrong, so we're taking it out. But they're not doing this to anything else. They're not doing this, again, with the Holocaust. They make sure they teach that. They're not doing it, again, with any other atrocities. But it comes to us because we're here. This is the same thing they've been doing in history. Every single time that, you bring us over here, you enslave us, and all of a sudden there's a lot of us over here, and we have a population, and all of a sudden the entire time you have to keep literally your foot on our neck with laws, with literally trying to intimidation tactics, but literally, more importantly, with laws that we couldn't protect ourselves. We couldn't even be actually federal citizens, even when we were free. So amongst other things, like we couldn't gather together more than 10 people, couldn't even let all these things to restrict us and keep us docile and keep us thinking that we were inferior and keeping us down, knowing that if one day there's a possibility that we might wake up one day and what? When someone has a guilty conscience because they're doing something to you, you ever notice that? You ever notice when someone's guilty, they either do one thing, they're not going to take accountability for it, they'll just try to disappear, or they'll try to keep that foot on your neck for as long as possible until maybe you either forget it or you give up. One of the two. Well, we keep on getting better, we keep on striving, we keep on increasing our population, and we also know that this just increases the form of us continuing to get our own schools, continuing to be able to create our own private schools. Because let me tell you something, if it's a private school that's in Missouri, it doesn't matter what kind of law they take away. That's fine. They can continue to do this. We continue to make our own schools. We continue to make our own situation. And we won't have to worry about anything. And I think that's what needs to be said. Instead of us continuing to integrate with these things, we need to continue. If they want to do this in that state, that's fine. In Florida, there's a few all-Black schools that are private, that are charter, that will teach it the correct way. Same thing. There's a bunch of HBCUs in Florida alone. What you going to do about that? You can't stop them from teaching the proper way. And in Missouri, if they want to pull these lines, either we go hard at politicians and say, what are you doing? But at the same time, We wouldn't have to worry about them if we had our own spaces, we had our own schools. As far as in the elementary area, that made the charters affordable for us to do what we had to do. And watch how all of a sudden they stop doing these things. They stop trying to take it out because they know the resistance. They know what is true, and they know in their heart what they're doing while they're doing this. We're not stupid. So if you have any questions, please DM me. Look up Missouri. There are some petitions out there. I know they've been fighting it for a while. And let's get some awareness out if we can. Happy Monday, y'all. Much love.